Merhaba! So today we're going to be talking about the ultimate East meets West country, and that is Turkey. Turkey offers up a beautiful geographic country as well as a beautiful culture. So if you want to know more about teaching English in Turkey, keep on watching. So let's talk about Turkey. So in this video, I'm mostly going to be talking about living and working in Istanbul. Istanbul is not the capital of Turkey, which is Ankara, but Istanbul is by far the largest city, both in terms of population and geography, and it's kind of the cultural capital of the country, and it's definitely where you will find most of the ESL teaching opportunities. Istanbul is such an interesting city because it is transcontinental, which means it straddles Europe and Asia. So there's a European side of the city and an Asian side of the city, separated by the Bosphorus Strait. There are also multiple harbors and inlets surrounding the city, meaning you get great waterfront views almost everywhere in the city, which is amazing. And because it's so close to the water, you get excellent restaurants and cafes where you can enjoy an amazing view. As I said before, Istanbul is really a kind of mix match of East meets West, meaning that you can really see the gamut of Eastern traditions like drinking chai and spice markets, but it's also fairly Westernized. Istanbul is what I would call a culturally Islamic city. So what does that mean? So there are elements of the city that are deeply ingrained that you will see in your everyday life that are closely related to the Islamic religion. So you will hear the 5 calls to prayer, even if you're not near a mosque, which you probably will be because there are hundreds and hundreds of mosques in the city, all the way from the Hagia Sophia down to like little neighborhood mosques that have their own minarets and loudspeakers. So you will hear things like the call to prayer 5 times a day. But this doesn't mean that you need to change your lifestyle. You don't have to worry about getting things like alcohol. It is readily available in bars, clubs, restaurants, stores. You probably will have a problem finding pork products. Those are not commonly seen in Istanbul because of the Islamic heritage of the city. However, I've tried beef bacon. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Give it a try. I'm sure that you'll like it. So because the city is geographically massive, it's a big, sprawling city with multiple urban centers. The public transportation is really amazing. There's a system of buses, subways, trams, ferries, minibuses. You'll have no problems getting around the city. The public transportation is very well organized, so you'll be able to zip around the city to see multiple amazing historic sites, get to your classes, things like that. It's also a very affordable city. The local currency is the lira, and it's what you'll be paid in if you're working in Istanbul. And it's a very affordable city. So because there is everything from kind of more humble residences all the way up to luxurious penthouse apartments, rent is going to vary massively. So you can expect to pay a pretty low rent if you decide to live with roommates in a less fancy or a less luxurious or a less modern apartment. You could spend as little as $200 a month for your own room in a shared house. That goes all the way up to maybe $600, $700, $800 if you want to live in a loft by yourself, or if you want to live in a more modern apartment. So it's really easy to find a place to live, but if you have exact specifications, if you want something that's a little bit more modern, you will pay a little bit more for that. Living in Istanbul on a teacher's salary is very comfortable. You'll have all of the money that you need to pay your rent, pay your bills, go shopping, buy food, go out to eat, and even travel around the country. So living on a teacher salary is very easy to do. Most places will compensate you very well for teaching. And if you're working for a language school, meaning that you're probably going to have to travel around the city, your travel expenses are almost always reimbursed. Now let's talk about what it's like to work as an English teacher in Istanbul. So unless you have a teaching certificate from your home country or a lot of ESL experience, you will probably be working at a language school. If you do have a lot of experience, your opportunities kind of open up. You could work at a university or at a primary, middle, or high school directly and have your own classroom and things like that, but that does require that you have teaching certifications of some kind. So your best bet is to work at a language school. Check out the description for links to language schools in Istanbul. So the benefits of working at a language school mean that you'll have a diverse group of students at all ages and all levels, probably spread out around the city. This might seem a little bit daunting. Most language schools will provide training for you even if you already have prior experience teaching English. This means that you'll understand what they expect from you as a teacher as well as how their lessons are run. They usually have a fairly extensive library that you can choose your materials from, or they will provide the materials and explain the curriculum of each of your classes. One of the best benefits of working for a language school is that they probably have a dedicated HR department that is going to help you transition to your life in Istanbul, which is incredibly helpful. Even though Istanbul is a massive international city, there are lots of headquarters of massive multinational companies there. To do the kind of bureaucratic administrative life things that you're going to need to do, you'll probably need to speak Turkish. If you don't speak Turkish, you can understand how this might be a bit complicated, and that's why working at a language school is great. They will help you with the administrative work of getting your visa, finding an apartment, registering for private health insurance, getting a cell phone, all of these kind of essential things. Language schools are adept and equipped at helping foreigners figure all of that out. There will be someone who will go with you to appointments. So working with the language school also means that you get automatic help finding your way around your new home. One of the best things about working in Turkey, more specifically Istanbul, will be your students. Turkish people are some of the nicest, kindest, warmest, and friendliest people in the world. If you are teaching adults, it's very likely that you will become very good friends with your students. They want to learn, they're happy to learn, they are happy to share their culture with you. So working with a language school and specifically having adult students is a great way to network. Not only will you, be a teacher and you'll have a student-teacher relationship with most of them, they'll also probably become your friends. And when you have a Turkish friend, it means you have an in on so many great things: restaurants, bars, clubs, museums, cafes. They are happy to share their city with you. So having adult students, which you probably will working at a language school, is a great benefit and will definitely improve your lifestyle living in Istanbul. Istanbul has a massive population, somewhere between 15 and 20 million people. That means that there are a lot of people who want to learn English. So there will be no shortage of opportunities for you to work as a private tutor, which means you can take your own students and either teach them at their offices or in your home or at a cafe, and you can get some pocket change on the side. This is a really common practice, and most language schools, while it's not necessarily accepted, it's understood that it will happen. So you'll have maybe multiple streams of income working in Istanbul. Let's talk about everyone's favorite, getting a visa in Istanbul. So as I mentioned before, you're going to want to have help getting your visa from someone who speaks Turkish. It's essential that you have someone who speaks Turkish, as the people who process visas and things like that will probably not speak another language. Most people apply for their work visa or residence permit after they have arrived in the country. So most nationalities do need to have a tourist visa to enter the country. This is a super easy process. You can either apply for it online before you arrive in the country, or you can get it at the airport. It costs about $20, and it's not anything that you have to stress about. So after you enter the country on a tourist visa, which like most entries to countries will get you 90 days in the country, that's when you'll apply for your residence visa after you've already entered the country. Residence visas and work visas take a long time to process. I think the usual processing time is about 6 months. Luckily, as you are waiting for your visa to be processed, you are allowed to leave the country and then come back. You will need a document from the police station that says you've applied for your visa, you're waiting for it to come, and that's enough to have multiple entry and exits from the country. Again, if you have someone to help you, either hiring a private company or maybe your language school provides visa help, it's fairly essential to getting your visa. Finally, let's talk about the pros and cons of living and working in Istanbul as an English teacher. So one of the pros is definitely the geographic and cultural heritage of Istanbul. It's truly one of the most beautiful cities in the world. It has one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Hagia Sophia, which is a beautiful basilica, mosque. It's seen multiple different religions in its very long history. You can find palaces, museums, just anything that you want to see about Turkish culture you can find in Istanbul. Another pro of living and working in Istanbul is definitely the people. As I said before, they're super friendly, very warm, and very welcoming. So being friends with Turkish people as well as the other expats in the city, you'll be able to have a great community of friends, and it'll be really easy to find them. Working as an English teacher, your salary will be more than enough to live, play, and travel on. And the city is very easy to live in with their public transportation and the kind of more modern parts of the city. You won't have any trouble assimilating and getting into the groove of your Turkish life. Summers in Istanbul can be really hot, pretty sweltering, so it's an excellent opportunity to take a trip down to the southwest of the country where there's stunning coastlines and beautiful beaches. There's Cappadocia, which have little ferry chimneys and great valleys to go hiking in, as well as opportunities to go hot air ballooning. So let's talk about the cons of living and working in Istanbul. The country's currency is the lira, and as I said, you'll be able to live very comfortably on the lira in Turkey. However, as far as savings are concerned, because the lira is not the most stable currency, you probably won't be able to save when you convert that money back into your home currency. So that is something to keep in mind. It's really a break-even country, we would say, not really a country where you'll be able to take back a chunk of money home. Another con of living in Istanbul is there can be some civil, political, and social unrest. While this doesn't affect your safety usually, expect to find and see a lot of demonstrations, especially if you live in the kind of heart of the city. There are usually demonstrations that happen on Fridays and Saturdays. So, like I said, it's not going to really affect your safety, but it can be be a bit jarring to see, you know, thousands of people marching in the street. The Turkish people are very politically active, and especially around election times, you'll be able to see a lot of demonstrations, a lot of protests, and things like that. So I think it's a very safe city to live in, but it is good to be aware that there are some moments of civil unrest that you should be prepared for. So that is everything about living and working in Istanbul. I hope this video was helpful for you. Be sure to check out the description below the video to find useful links to starting your life in Istanbul and finding a job there.